are some of your memories of Ranger training, or your time at the Ranger Training Brigade? Was it called the Ranger Training Brigade?
No, it was the Ranger Department then. Right. It was a department. Well, I recall, it gets challenged once in a while. People who don't know really have a feel for what happens in a rifle squad or a platoon or a company in combat. They have a hard time realizing or appreciating what Ranger training means to the soldiers in that tense moment. And it gets challenged every once in a while about the people who do the budgeting business. How much does it cost to get a Ranger through the course? Or a man through this course to make a Ranger? And I know I was president when we had a wonderful Colonel Keller, Jerry Kelleher. Kelleher was a great soldier, and in the 1st Division, I think he had 3 Distinguished Service Crosses and 8 Silver Stars. He commanded companies in vicious fighting in North Africa. He was wounded. He came back. He was in the 104th Division, the Wolfhound Division, the Wolfhead Division in the Hurtgen Forest, some of the most vicious fighting in World War II in Europe. And he commanded that division, a regiment there. He commanded a regiment in Korea, 35th Division, a regiment of the 25th Division. Famous infantry colonel, and we learned more from him. But we did have a class in session. He would get us together and get out his little book and being a company commander and read some of his tricks of the trade and notes that he took. But at any rate, he was being questioned by a 4-star general, and I happened to be in the room that day in the headquarters here at Fort Benning. And the 4-star general asked him what it did cost to send a Ranger through. When they were thinking about stopping it, let's let the units do it around the Army. We don't have to do it at the Fort Benning in a special course. And the general asked him, what's the cost to send, he was a good general too. What's the cost to send a man through this course, Jerry? And Colonel Kelleher said, well, I could tell you that if you can tell me what a soldier's life is worth. And the general said, that's a good answer. So, but and they did it again another time. They did it when I was here, really. I guess when I had the Ranger Department. I was a Ranger Department. I came back and I got the Ranger Department as a colonel. And they were going to take it away again, but we just come back from the Vietnam War, and they were thinking about how we're going to cut back, and it might be a different enemy as the Cold War was about to begin, with the Russian threat, nukes and nuclear weapons and all that. And maybe we can cut some corners here and some cost, and what saved us was there was some resistance to the Vietnam War, from our country. You didn't have that swell, that groundswell of whatever, like I experienced as a young man in the World War II. But at any rate, they decided to try some different things, some novel things. They thought it was novel, and they weren't novel. They were really good. But that was have an ROTC course, get the ROTC folks when they were juniors in college, because they've lost some ROTC support during the Vietnam War. They weren't too popular on the campuses, and so we had a couple of those go. And we did 4 when I was there. We did 2 years of it. 2 every summer. And we were going to their big camp. They came here, and we had a 200-man class. We had 200 of the brightest, toughest ROTC students in the country come here and go through the Ranger course. And they were youngsters, and it was a great success. It was a screaming success, and they did very, very well. And then they went back to the campuses as seniors, and they all organized their own little Ranger companies or Raider companies or battalions, or they had little units, but it was sort of an elite unit within the ROTC group that was still in existence in the college. And they turned the whole feeling about military on the campuses around. They had a lot to do with that, because these people really were proud to wear the uniform. They did great things. They were both good students as well as good ROTC cadets. And it did a lot to bring ROTC back into some degree of acceptance and respect on the campuses in America. And the Army realized that, And they didn't keep it up. They didn't keep that going. For some reason, I thought they should have, but they didn't, because it was such a payoff for us. I meet a lot of them today. They'll be here at Best Ranger as doctors and CEOs and things. They just want to come back and see the events. Or they've just been very successful in whatever they did the rest of their lives. It did have a great effect on their life. It was probably the defining moment of their life. And it certainly was for me and many others that are still in uniform and around. And you heard some of the numbers today, where they are, who commands the divisions, who runs the Army, really. A lot of Rangers in some very key spots. But at any rate, they changed their mind and they kept the Ranger Department, thank goodness. But the ROTC thing did a lot toward keeping it alive and well. And then it just got better and better and better as we went on.
And when were you the commander of the Ranger Department?
I was here in the 1970s. I got back in 1971. I was in Vietnam. I commanded the battalion, a brigade in the 101st. I got back in 1971, and I was here 73. I was here for almost 3 years. Yeah, I was a director.
So in all the years that or all the time you've spent in the Army, there's been a significant amount of changes. What or how has the Army evolved from your perspective?
Well, I think, how's it evolved? Well, I think it's very favorable as far as because the Rangers are concerned. It is really, I mean, I know as a brigade commander in combat how vital it was to have Ranger officers and NCOs. I applauded when we brought, the NCOs didn't go to those early Ranger classes or courses. That was a later thing. They were brought in, which was one of the smartest things we ever did. I mean, and then having a Ranger regiment, of course, and the wonderful things that they can do and do all the time. I guess one of the most significant things, is that the whole special operations effort, organizational awareness in the Army has grown larger and larger and larger. That you need people like this to do things in this world that we're in today. Some of the things have changed. There's still a great threat from a few nations that would come after us, perhaps, or we would have some conflict of interest, and that would go back to a sort of conventional land warfare again, almost like World War II again, because there's some big armies out there that we could have to fight. But the value of having units like Rangers and people commanded who have been through the Rangers course, they're invaluable in this current world. And the equipment they have is probably the most modern, sophisticated equipment. I mean, they get the best of everything. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The best weapons, the best communications, the best vehicles, the best everything is available. I can make you more lethal on a battlefield. The Rangers get it. They get it first, and they should, because they're the ones that are going to be in combat first, probably, or maybe the only ones that are going to go to combat, because they could maybe end the situation so quickly. There's a special value to having them.
Speaking to that, again, there's a lot of talk of when you go to Ranger school, you learn about yourself more than anything else.
Yeah.
So what is it that makes a Ranger at that kind of point of embarkation? What is it that you learn about yourself that makes you a Ranger?
Well, there's a course in existence. There are several courses. I don't know all of them now, but in fact, Ralph Puckett, when he left the Army as a colonel to join a friend of his who was involved in Outward Bound. And Outward Bound is a very popular training device that's used by industry. I mean, the major corporations in America have sent their executives, or the ones that are future executives, to Outward Bound. Outward Bound is like a Ranger course. The only difference is, I used to say, it's a Ranger course, but you don't carry a rifle. you're doing exciting things. You know, they got all the zip lines and the rappelling and the rafting and who's leadership. They change the leadership of the group, and they have to do all these various challenging leadership development exercises, build something or move something, large weights, or build a house. Or they do all various means they use to develop or to evaluate leadership capability. Who can take charge? Who can take charge and make a difference, and make the right decisions. So outward bound, when I had the Ranger Department, I sent my lieutenant colonels, my camp commanders, my couple of my executive officer, I sent them I sent them to outward bound. Because I always said the Ranger course is outward bound, but now you're carrying a rifle and a rucksack, and you've got that little bit added to it. But what you're trying to do is develop people who have confidence in themselves to take on something that looks like it's unsolvable and solving it. That's important. It's important in a squad. It's important in an industry or in a job somewhere. I don't care. It goes with you. That's why they do so well when they get out of the service. And they become CEOs of major industries, or the industries gobble them up because they're valuable assets.